What's up YouTube? Toy Pulse here, and today we're going to take a really quick look at the Hasbro Pulse exclusive G.I. Joe Retro Collection, Storm Shadow and Snake Eyes. The figures come packed in a single box with some really awesome original art of Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow engaged in battle. Pretty cool, nice little display piece if you're into that thing, but and I guess you could cut the picture out if you wanted to, but I'm just going to toss it. If you don't know, Hasbro's G.I. Joe Retro Collection is the return of O-Ring G.I. Joe action figures to the shelf. Hasbro has reconstructed the original G.I. Joe O-Ring line, supposedly improving the overall quality of the construction, most notably with the hands and the O-rings, attempting to make a stronger action figure, as those were always two big points of failure with the vintage Joes. Alright, both figures come on a retro inspired cards. I shouldn't even say retro inspired. It is an exact replica of the retro cards for the most part. Biggest differences that I can tell right off the bat, I could be wrong, there's probably some minor things, but biggest difference right off the bat is that the swivel arm battle grip has different languages, whereas before it was just in English. Same old school Hasbro logo. The back though is where you really get the big differences in that there's no file card. I mean, there's a file card, but there's no description. It's just basic text, and it's in different languages. No full paragraphs. So that's kind of a bummer. Obviously, they have to account for more, I think, space, more international sales here. So that's sort of a bummer. It's just the pitfalls of modern action figures. But then we also get some previews of what other figures will be coming in the retro-inspired line. We get two Cobra, Cobra Trooper, Cobra Officer, Duke, and Cobra Commander. So that's cool. I don't think I knew those were coming out, so that's neat to see. Also, in terms of the quality of the packaging, it's that same type of like flimsy-ish cardboard that they had in the Walmart exclusive line, the sort of three-quarter inch retro inspired line. So that's kind of a bummer. I don't know why it's this cheap flimsy cardboard. It makes me not want to keep it. I'm gonna just rip into it. So, but something to note, if you're a Minton carding collector, it's not the sort of thicker Marvel Legends style cardboard that we get. It's this really cheap, flimsy, honestly, I don't remember if the retro cards were like this or not, so maybe that's accurate. I haven't picked up a retro carded G.I. Joe in so long, I have no idea, so maybe I'm wrong, but something to note as far as accessories, both figures come with their complete arsenal from the vintage line, along with some extras. Snake Eyes comes with his Uzi and a bag of explosives. Storm Shadow comes with his bow, a quiver, a nunchuck, and two swords. Additionally, both figures come with some fun extras, including two figure stands not included with the vintage figures. The extra accessories are tucked away in the bottom of the packaging in a little box wrapped up in paper, so do not do what I did and throw it in the trash and then only to frantically realize that you accidentally threw them away and then have to dig through the trash to find them. The silver submachine gun and sword are reproductions of the gun and sword that came with Snake Eyes version 3, done in a shinier plastic than the original versions. The sword feels very flimsy, almost like paper, and he also comes with the same backpack that version 3 came with. No idea why Hasbro included these. I don't mind having them. I'm guessing it was just to improve the overall value of the figures, but definitely interesting that they came with these. Storm Shadow also comes with an extra Uzi, which is identical to the one packaged with Snake Eyes, along with an extra nunchuck. Alright, the biggest change on these things versus the vintage Joes, and this is a version 2 cutter, it's the only vintage Joe I had available at the hand. They painted in the little pins on the arms, so they match the white on the shoulder and the flesh color. It's a little off, it's not quite an exact replica, and on here it's like pretty sloppy, but I appreciate the effort. It definitely looks better than the silver popping out. They didn't do it on the inside. The screws are still the same there. Articulation is the exact same as the vintage Joe, so you get the shoulder ball joint, or not ball joint, but the hinge, whatever this thing is. Swivel, the forearm, hinge at the elbow, got the spin at the head. O-ring, so it spins around at the waist, pretty good. Does it feel like a much stronger O-ring than these older ones? I don't know if it's because it's a different material or if it's just because it's newer, so it's not as brittle. Of course, the legs kick out to about so far because it's on the O-ring. On the same type of little barbell, whatever that is, and bend at the knees. On mine, I don't know if it's because of paint, but they feel very tight, which is good. But yeah, vintage Joe construction. Other big thing I noticed about these, and you'll notice it right away, and this is sort of just, if you don't have a vintage Joe, you never touched a vintage Joe, you may not notice it. Much lighter plastic. I don't even know how to describe it other than just like the way newer toys feel versus the way the older toys feel. Like this is a heavy, sturdy, like chunky piece of plastic. These things feel kind of just, not brittle, but just kind of hollow. They did a great job reconstructing the old Joe, but they just don't feel like the old Joes, and I don't really know how to describe it. It's not necessarily a bad thing, it's just, I think just it's probably a cost-cutting measure, just the type of plastics they use have differed since the 80s, but yeah, this thing feels super hollow and light, almost like one of those chocolate Easter bunnies, so something to keep in mind. But other than that, yeah, pretty good faithful reproductions of the vintage toys. I'm really impressed with just, they do feel like they're not going to fall apart. Like the way these old O-rings would snap, this really feels better. So that's pretty cool, but yeah, just kind of hollow. I don't know. Overall, I think these figures are really cool. I'm not so sold on the cost. This pack itself was $39.99. And I feel like that's a little pricey for vintage Joes. Now, granted, if you were to try to get these on the secondary market, they would probably cost you much more than that. I don't know how much, maybe if you went to like a convention, you might be able to find it for cheaper, but finding them complete and in good condition, I think is getting increasingly expensive. So in that sense, it's a pretty good value. And I also like that they added the extra accessories to sort of increase the value a little bit. It is also a good preview. If you ordered the Sky Striker on HasLab, this is a really good preview of what those extra figures are going to feel like. So I imagine it's going to be the same sort of hollowish kind of plastic. Not necessarily a bad thing, but just something to keep in mind. But yeah, overall, I don't know if I'm all in on the O-Ring line being back. I think these are really cool to have. I think these are two of the most iconic characters that you can get. But I don't know. I just really going to depend on what they're going to cost. Are they going to keep doing 2-packs, or is this just a special Hasbro Pulse release? You know, I don't know yet. I don't think they've made that clear. But I think if they do single carded figures and the price is right, I probably will get more of these. But overall, I'm glad to have these. They're fun. I actually don't have an original Snake Eyes and original Storm Shadow, so it's nice to have on the shelf. Thank you so much for watching. Please take a second to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Let me know. Did you pick these up? Are you gonna pick up the vintage Joes? Are you glad that Hasbro is back doing the O-rings again? And go follow me on Instagram @ToyPulse. And as always, take care and see ya.